Hey everyone, Jennifer Snyder here. I wanted to talk to you today about the Association for Career and Technical Education, or ACTE. Molly asked me to tell you about my journey within the organization and what opportunities it offers to its members. So obviously, I'm a huge advocate for ACTE because it not only supports our programs, but it strives to help us and our students. But she wants me to talk for 30 minutes. So I'm going to try to mix it up for you guys a little, so hang with me, and I'm going to try to keep you entertained. All right, what is ACTE? Most of you know, but I'm sure there are some that don't quite know what we do. ACTE provides a strong collective voice for professionals representing all facets of career and technical education. They provide professional development, resources, events, and networking opportunities. Also, they serve as advocates for our programs to lawmakers. ACTE is made up of state associations, regions, divisions, board of directors, and assembly of delegates. Now, aside from those specific things that ACTE does for you, there are opportunities with online learning and publications. Until I joined the Fellows program, I had no idea about the publications, but I learned quickly. Dominique from headquarters sends out emails with specific opportunities to write for publications. After it is sent in, they are usually published to the website for others to read, but some make it actually as far as the magazine Techniques. Either way, you are now published, and it's a pretty cool way to start building that resume. Wondering how to get to this point? I can tell you how. Just ask me. So, when we start talking about ACTE and the opportunities it offers, the first step is becoming a member. There are a couple of ways to do this. First, you can visit arkansasacte.org and click on the Join Arkansas ACTE link. Or you can visit the ATFAC's website and choose the unified membership for both organizations. Either site will walk you through the process, and you should receive your membership card within a couple of weeks. Membership for ACTE is $100 and can be paid by the individual or your school. If you choose to join through the ATFAC's webpage, you can pay your unified dues of $125. I waited until I completed my first year of teaching until I jumped into ACTE with both feet. At that time, little did I know the path that was laid out for me. It has been very busy, but fun. So, do you know how many FACS members Arkansas ACTE has? Just take a guess for me. Out of all the FACS teachers in Arkansas, how many are Arkansas ACTE members? So we have 107 members that are unified with ACTE and ATFACS. Okay, so do you know how many of us are actually in the state? How many FACS teachers are in the state? There are approximately 475 FACS teachers in Arkansas. If you find ACTE as beneficial as I do, I encourage you to invite other teachers to the organization. So let's make a pact. Let's invite at least one non-member to ACTE. If we can add to our numbers, we will be that much stronger. I was invited to the conference that first summer by the president of Arkansas ACTE. I came and worked like crazy behind the scenes with registration, goodie bags, and helping everything run smoothly. I also attended several sessions and learned about networking. Honestly, working behind the scenes was one of my favorite parts. You get to meet everybody that attends and learn all that goes into putting together the conference. Attendees are able to attend breakout sessions specific to their program area or other sessions so broad that they can be utilized in any program area. They can attend the opening and closing sessions with phenomenal speakers and receive updates from the ACTE board. And they also have the option to attend the awards banquet, where top educators in our state receive annual awards. But my favorite part, it's always been the networking. Wow, the networking. Meeting new people who are passionate about CTE and teaching and students and hearing their ideas and what they're doing in their classrooms. It truly is one of the best things about ACTE. I have been able to make lifelong connections with FACTS teachers as well as those in other program areas. So, as I say all of this, I hope it encourages you to attend the state conference every year. If you're a member, you will receive updates throughout the year, including when registration opens. And it's not too late to register and attend the 90th Annual Arkansas ACTE Conference virtually on July the 27th. The cost is $125 for members and $150 for non-members. Okay, so now you're a member and you have come to a conference. What do you do now? There are actually quite a few options. My journey was pushed into action here. I think the executive team saw my eagerness to help because I'm pretty sure I was really that transparent. If you knew me before I began teaching when I was at the state office, I think you would agree that this is typical nature for me. I love helping people, and I love trying to make things easier on others. It's just what I do. So they said I should join a committee, and I was excited to. There was an opening on the awards committee, and so I said yes, and voila, I was an awards committee member, but only for 2 weeks. And do you know what happened then? I'm going to tell you what happened then. Brenda Lumpkin happened. You guys know Brenda. Most of you do anyway. She's a FACTS teacher and friend of mine, and she was also the awards chair. And little did I know that she was stepping down as the chair, leaving an opening for a replacement. She mentioned that I would be perfect for the position, so Ray Newland calls me and says, "Hey, Jennifer, Brenda thinks you would be great as the awards committee chair." And I'm sitting there thinking, oh gosh, thanks, Brenda. I mean, literally, I just finished my first year of teaching and had just joined the organization. So much for slowly easing into things. But they all assured me that they would be here to answer questions every step of the way. So I thought, really, how hard can this be? So this is what they failed to tell me. The awards chair is the most time-consuming position within the organization, aside from the executive team. But they also didn't tell me how rewarding it was. As the awards chair, I'm so grateful to read and listen to some of the most amazing teachers across our state talk about what they are doing in their classrooms to make their programs and students better. They give us insight into specific projects and lessons. And you know what? We get to take that back to our classrooms. We get to implement the best ideas with our kids, and we get to share with other teachers. And as the chair, I also sit on the Region 4 Awards Committee. So I get a good double dose of amazing teachers gaining knowledge from the best of the best from 5 other states. I feel so blessed to have this opportunity and feel like it's made me a better teacher. So if you want to experience something like this, then join a committee, chair a committee, get involved on this level. Vacancies are posted on the Arkansas ACTE webpage under the board tab. So do you know how many committees ACTE has? There are 6 total. The Audit Review, Awards, Bylaws, CTE Scholarship Fund, Nominating, and Resolutions. Each committee includes a chair from any division and 1 representative from each division. Now, you have a little knowledge under your belt and you're confident you can be a member, attend conferences, and serve on a committee. And you might be thinking, well, what will I do when my rotation to this committee is over? Because really, it's only a 3-year rotation. For me, I knew the path I wanted to take. I believed in this organization and was passionate about CTE. So I knew I wanted to eventually run for Arkansas ACTE president. But I also knew I needed to prepare myself better. I needed to become a more effective leader. I had been told about the ACTE National Fellowship Program early on, but had dismissed it because I knew I wasn't anywhere near ready to tackle something that big. But I was finally at that crossroad, and I knew I needed to take it. With the help of my executive team, my administration, and my fellow teachers, I was accepted into the 2019 National ACTE program, fellowship program. This opportunity allowed me such different insight into CTE as I trained not only to become a better leader, but to effectively advocate for CTE at a local, state, and national level. I had monthly Zoom meetings with the fellows team, and we were all so quiet at first. Even though Tiana Young from Pea Ridge was a fellow, we didn't know each other at all. And we're supposed to talk about things. Like, how do you talk about things to people that you don't know? In March, we finally met at National Policy Seminar in Washington, D.C. In those few days, we learned so much about each other. We had 3 of 5 fellows from Region 4. How amazing is that? 3 out of 5. The other 2 were from Las Vegas and Pennsylvania. Literally, all it took was us finally meeting face to face. We began forming friendships, drawing from each other's experiences, and focused on becoming better. We worked as a team, absorbing all that an intense leadership program had to offer. We went to Capitol Hill during the Perkins 5 rollout to speak with our representatives and senators about continued funding for CTE, just making those connections that we could build from. Throughout the program, we learned how to speak to our local and state legislators and what to say about CTE and how vital our programs are. I will never forget attending the Region 4 conference in Oklahoma. One of our fellows was from there, and he wanted to meet up with me. And honestly, I can say that I was a little intimidated by him. He really seemed to have it all figured out. You know, those types of people, sometimes you feel like if you open your mouth around them to say something, then gibberish comes out and you just look so stupid. And while we're sitting there having tea, I finally tell him how inspired I am to be more together like he is. And he looks at me, absolutely dumbfounded, and says with the utmost sincerity, "I have wanted to tell you that for a while now." My jaw dropped. He continued on by telling me that professionally, I was everything he wanted to be, that I spoke with such knowledge and passion, and he admired people like me. At that point, I was truly humbled. I had no clue that I had caused that sort of reaction in someone. From that moment on, I was so much more at ease whenever I spoke with him or was around him. He was following my lead, and I felt I had a duty to provide the best example possible. From that moment on, I knew this was what it meant being a fellow. And from that moment on, I knew I was meant to be a leader. As I was in the fellowship program, our executive team introduced the Arkansas Lead Program. This is very similar to the Nationals Fellows Program, but it's more at the state level. I can't even begin to tell you how much I encourage you to dive into one of these programs. Even if you don't plan on going any further with ACTE, this will expand your capabilities within your classroom, your school, and your district. The program will help you open doors to things you thought were once impossible. It's a big step that will be so totally worth it. Okay, so I've briefly talked about attending conferences, but I wanted to talk a little bit more about Region 4 and Vision. I have attended 3 Region 4 conferences in Albuquerque, Mexico, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and virtually in New Orleans, Louisiana. Region 4 is similar to our state conferences, but there are just so many more people. This is where the networking really takes off. It is amazing how others in surrounding states are teaching the same programs we are, but doing it differently. One teacher said his students weren't understanding the difficulties homeless people go through on a daily basis, you know, like other than being homeless. So with the approval from parents and the district, the teacher and his students set out on a weekend-long pilgrimage with no phones and the clothes on their back. It was through this journey where students had to find food and shelter to withstand the weekend. It was through this journey that those students were able to feel what it was like to be homeless. And it was through this journey that they decided to build a program within their school to support the homeless. Who does this? What teacher in their right mind drops his entire weekend, disconnects from social world to connect with the real world? What teacher chooses to take all of his students to the streets in order to open their eyes while proving a point? I will tell you who. An awesome teacher. A teacher who inspires their students and gives them opportunity beyond the classroom. This is a teacher that shapes a student's future by one single act. A teacher the students will never forget. Isn't this the type of teacher that you want to connect with? They are all over, and I promise you will find someone like this at one of the conferences. The National Vision Conference is the same and bigger. If you have the opportunity to go to one of these, go. Don't think twice about it. Just go and explore everything it has to offer. Since I began attending conferences, I've had the opportunity to do breakout sessions at each level. The first one I did, I was so scared. I wasn't teaching my teenage students. I was now teaching my peers. So many of you that I had looked up to when I was at the state office. I had no clue what to really talk about. And someone said, just come and talk about all the PBL you did with your kids last year. The tiny house you guys built. The activities you are doing with core classes. The work you are doing in your community. Okay, well, that's no big deal. Of course, I could come and talk about that because I was beyond vested in those things. So I did, and people listened to me. They asked me about my projects and how I got them started. I told them, and many followed suit. Many started more activities with their students. We all do projects in our classroom, but in my alternative school, about 75 to 80% of our time is project-based learning. Why? Because they retain 90% of what they do as opposed to what they read. Never think that what you do in your class can't help someone else add to what they're already doing. Now, I do at least one breakout session a year. Sometimes it still makes me nervous, but I get over it. So I challenge you to step up and do a breakout session. Get started with ACTE or ACTE and think about what you want others to know next year. Okay, now let's talk about awards. It is my favorite topic in the world to talk about. ACTE has 8 award categories that open up each year. The portal opens up in April after Region 4 awards are completed. The link to the portal with all the instructions are always emailed to members and available on the Arkansas ACTE webpage. Do you know what the award categories are? They are Career Guidance, New Teacher of the Year, Post-Secondary Teacher of the Year, Administrator of the Year, Carl Perkins Community Service, Teacher Educator of the Year, and Lifetime Achievement. Each of the award descriptions can be found on the webpage. As a member of ACTE, you have the option to apply for these awards or nominate a fellow CTE educator or administrator. All applications must be completed by June 30th of each year. Interviews will take place at the state conference, and winners will be announced at the awards banquet. One of the hardest things that one can do is brag on themselves. It typically doesn't come natural to many of us. This was one of the most difficult things for me to do when I filled out my application for New Teacher of the Year in 2019. After many rough drafts, I came up with one I was happy to submit to the committee. Whatever I wrote, whatever I said, it worked. I was named the 2019-2020 Arkansas ACTE New Teacher of the Year. I was so excited with a smile from ear to ear. In 7 months, all of the winners were forwarded to the Region 4 Award Committee. Of course, it was different this year. We didn't have an on-site conference. We were virtual, just like every other PD meeting or conference in our life right now. I interviewed a full month before, and we had to wait until the conference to find out who won. Even though I was on the Region 4 Award Committee, I still didn't get to know the outcome of my award. It was definitely worth the wait as they announced the winners, and I was named the 2020 Region 4 New Teacher of the Year. Now I get to go forward to the National Vision Conference in December and compete against the winners from all other regions within ACTE. Yes, I'm very nervous, but honestly, if I win or not, I know I am in some of the best company in the CTE world. So if you ever have thought about applying to one of the awards, please don't hesitate. Don't ever think that you are not good enough or that you aren't doing enough. Sometimes the smallest things we can do can be the most impactful to others. As the committee chair, I can promise you that we love the stories we read in those applications, and we would love to have to really root through several of them to find the best of the best. So we come to one of the last things I want to share with you, and that's running for an office. Just 4 short years ago, I never would have thought about running for Arkansas president-elect. All I'm trying to do is make things better than they are now. I want to make things easier and more beneficial for our members, and I want us to be stronger. There are so many things that I want to implement if I'm elected president-elect. When new teachers start, they can get overwhelmed pretty fast. They also don't always have the knowledge of resources available to them. I had a teacher friend who I have known for 8 years. She finally came to me and asked what ACTE is and what ATFACS was. Y'all, I was stunned. I had no clue how she didn't know about these organizations. Well, come to find out, she was a one-teacher department for many of those years, and nobody had ever told her. She might have had a mentor at her school in those first few years, but it wasn't the mentor that opened her up to the possibilities. She then moved to another school where she became part of a 2-teacher program. However, that teacher was not about joining organizations. So all this time, this teacher was never given the resources to expand her professional network. Of course, I told her all about ACTE and ATFACS, and she immediately joined. I was so thankful that she reached out to me. Our state is full of these new teachers that need our help, and I believe ACTE can work with the state office to create a mentoring program for teachers with less than 3 years of experience. I'm hoping that creating this program will help them from feeling overwhelmed and allow them the resources all new teachers desperately need. Another issue we faced this past year was a change in our programs and classes. I think I can speak for most of us when I say we weren't only shocked, but we were outraged. Something we learned as the news unfolded was that teachers were not involved with these decisions. However, I worked at the state office for many years, and I could absolutely see how this happened. But our teachers want a voice to be heard at the state level. I want to keep working closely with the state office, but why don't we have small committees for each program area made up of teachers to serve as our voice? Teachers that can speak for those in the classroom to those who are no longer in the classroom. I propose that we create small committees for each program area with teachers voted in by other teachers. Something else I wanted to look at creating some sort of network hub where virtual assignments and videos could be housed and utilized by our ACTE members for AMI, homebound, or assignments within the classroom. As I was writing this, ACTE is co-sponsoring a PLC committee that will do just that. I have been placed on the committee and will be working closely with the state agency to help develop blended learning courses. I'm excited about this opportunity to help shape the future of CTE curriculum in Arkansas. One of the other major changes I would like to take care of while I am in office is to combine the registration process for CTE conferences and try to have them all back to back. One of the things I encountered with the FACTS teachers when I was at the state office was that school districts would only allow a teacher to go to one conference, or basically one PO for a conference. So many times they would have to choose either the FACTS conference or ACTE conference. If we were to combine efforts, then I believe attendance would rise at all CTE conferences. Basically, the teacher would check which conferences they would like to attend and just be billed one time, utilizing only one PO. This is just one of those times when all programs within CTE can work together as one. Luckily, the current ACTE board sees this as a goal. It has been a topic of discussion throughout the year at the board meetings, but now it's time to make it reality. Now, if president is not right for you, then there are regional and national committee positions that I would encourage you to apply for. They are much like the positions you hold at the state level, but you would just meet when you go to the Region 4 conference or Vision. So keep an eye out for the ACTE emails you receive, and when one comes up, just look into it. So here we are at the end of your segment on ACTE. This has been my journey. As you can see, once I decided to jump in, I never even thought about stopping. Everything I have done within ACTE has made me a better teacher, a better leader, and a better person. It has opened my eyes to all the opportunities. I really hope that you will join if you aren't a member yet. And if you are a member, I hope you'll reach out to someone who isn't and show them what an awesome organization ACTE is. ACTE is. I hope you go away from this breakout session learning at least one new thing and feeling inspired to do just a little bit more. If you guys ever have questions, I hope you know you can always email or call me. I want to thank you so much for your time today and hope you have a wonderful experience with the ATFACS virtual conference. Thank you so much.